So as we've been going through this stock market crash, I think all of us can agree right now that this is a true stock market crash, and it's not just a correction, mainly from the magnitude of what's happening in the S&P 500 and how the market is behaving in general. I think we can all agree that this is some type of a historic type of moment, something that happens every 10 to 20 years. This is not just a 2018 type of regular correction. Now, if we agree on all of that stuff, and we really look at what happened before in history, and what really kind of marked a bottom in the S&P 500, not maybe an absolute bottom, but some kind of a good buying opportunity that served amazingly well for years and years to come. For example, in 2008, it was, whenever Lehman Brothers failed, and we had all those things with the housing market, and you could see it everywhere. You could see one thing on this very popular chart, which is fear, capitulation, and despair. And now we're not seeing any of that stuff. And it's the same thing, for example, in 1999 and 2000, it was again mostly retail investors holding on to many type of technology stocks. But what really marked the bottom was when retail investors did not want to touch technology stocks anymore. What was it before the stock market started crashing? They were buying the technology, internet type of stocks. They were saying, no, this time is different because this stock deserves this type of valuation, and the internet is going to change the world and all kind of stuff. And again, 2 years later, they did not want to touch those internet stocks, and this was the buying opportunity of a lifetime. And it's the same thing with many people that were trying to flip homes in 2008. They never wanted to do real estate again, never wanted to talk to a bank or do anything, and this was kind of the best opportunity of a lifetime. So there are a couple of indicators that I'm personally looking for to kind of mark what is the highlight of this bubble that we're in. And in the stock market crash, what is something that retail investors were holding before that they might not want to be holding on anymore. And this could maybe help us kind of mark a bottom or a good buying opportunity in the market. So again, I hope you enjoy this video. Now, one of my best indicators that I actually like to see, this is the monthly active users on Robinhood. They post them on every single kind of earnings quarter, so every 3 months, and now it's around 14 million monthly active users. Now in Q2 of 2020, whenever we had the stimulus checks, it was 10.2 million. So again, we're still much higher than we were pre-pandemic. Now that normally tells me that yes, the users are going down, which is good, and more retail investors are giving up, which is again something good. But I believe they have to go much, much lower. And to me personally, if we have as much, so around 10 million or less than what we had pre-pandemic when people got stimulus checks, this would encourage me that a lot of people gave up on the stock market and they don't really want to touch it again. So that gave me kind of a high conviction. Something else also was the Cassie Wood ARK type of stocks, but I personally been seeing many people kind of give up on this whole kind of growth stocks ideas. They're trying to turn as value investors and as very long-term investors and stuff. So I think many of them have give up. Now I know ARK Innovation and those stocks have a long way down to go, but I want to talk about something much bigger than ARK, and I believe it's one of the highlights of this bubble, and it's actually Bitcoin. Now I know I'm going to get a lot of dislikes, a lot of unfollowers, because most Bitcoin maximalists, they don't really like anyone saying anything wrong or bad about Bitcoin. But again, you have Bitcoin sitting at 18,000. Now, if you really want to, just think about it a little bit. What would it take for retail investors to give up on Bitcoin? Say Bitcoin is going to zero, and I don't want to hold Bitcoin again, and they just want to be any part of it. Because many of them left the stock market to hold Bitcoin because, Bitcoin has no earnings, and this would kind of be easier for them. All right. Now, just think about it. If you were a retail investor, what is a price you would say, Bitcoin is done? Would it be, 15,000? I don't personally think so. Would it be 12,000, 10,000? Again, I don't think so. For me personally, I think if we see maybe 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 or 7,000, that would maybe put in people's minds that, Bitcoin, that's it broke 10,000, that's a strong support, and it's gonna go to zero, it's gonna go under 1,000 or whatever. Just like what happened in 2018. It went from 20,000 to 4,000. People gave up on it. They said it's not a buy, they don't want it anymore. And then it went all the way up to 69,000. So those are the kind of opportunities and the behavior of investors that I'm really talking about. Now, many of you are going to say in this video, yes, Bitcoin will never go under 10,000. But that would only give me more conviction to actually saying that it will. And this is the whole part of the psychology of the stock market that most people don't understand. Whenever I made my video on Meta stock, it was like 220. And I said, I would maybe buy it under $150. And I got ridiculous comments saying Meta will never go under 150. Now, fortunately, it actually went under 150. But whenever you're saying something will never happen and it happens, this is when you give up on it. But this is really where the buying opportunity is. And I personally believe people will not really give up on Bitcoin as long as above 10,000. People will say it will never go under 15,000 or it will never go under 10,000. Now, if Bitcoin went, to kind of, 8, 7, 6,000 or even 4,000 or I don't know, 3,000, that would maybe, make people believe they don't want to touch Bitcoin again and it was a scam and all kind of, beliefs they might have then. I'm not saying Bitcoin will go under 10,000, but in a very historic stock market crash, wherever retail investors want to give up on something, I personally believe we have to see something pretty bad for us to have the same sentiment than we had in many historic stock market crashes, which is what we're going into right now. But I want to talk about the S&P 500 and what kind of level, again, if you think about it, what kind of level would people believe that the stock market is a scam? And they don't want to touch stocks again, and they only, kind of want to buy real estate or real things because, stocks are manipulated. And this is all the things they said in 2000, they said them in 2008, in every single market crash. So think about it. What kind of level do you believe investors would kind of give up on the market? Would it be 3,500? I don't think so. Would it be 3,200? Maybe. But imagine if there was a number 2, maybe 2,900 or 2,800 over there. This is when I personally would believe that we could see something kind of a despair or real capitulation in the market. Now, as I said, adjusted to inflation, the S&P is likely to go around 3,000. All right. But if we do see a 2,900 level, anything with a 2, people would say that's it. I'm done. It broke 3,000. Stocks are a scam. I never want to touch stocks again. And this again would be the buying opportunity of the century whenever you have such thing with retail investors, because most retail investors, they buy the top with excitement and they sell at the bottom when people are giving up. And again, if you do the opposite, you're going to make a lot of returns in the stock market. But my main point of the video is people keep calling for a stock market bottom. Every time we hit the 52-week low, oh, we hit a bottom. But again, think about it. Just study history. What happened over there? There was total despair, and people did not want to touch a certain asset again. And in my opinion, in this kind of environment, it could be something like Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes under 10,000, people may think it will never come back. But as much as it's 18,000 or 16,000, they say, oh, it could come back. We hit 30,000 next week and stuff. But whenever people do give up on those things that they had very high conviction in, this would mark some kind of a absolute bottom or an amazing buying opportunity in the stock market, or maybe if you buy cryptocurrencies or whatever you invest in. So this is my kind of thoughts on the video. It's not anything with PE ratios. It's more around, investors' behavior. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please press the like button and maybe consider subscribing. So I hope to see you in another video.